Good afternoon. Here we are on Dix Creek on the Chestatee Wildlife Management Area. This stream is stocked weekly from March until Labor Day, and it's a great place to take kids fishing for their first time. Because of that weekly stocking rate, or weekly stockings, catch rates are high, and this water stays cold. So even you know, during the later part of the summer, July and August, a lot of trout streams in Georgia are marginal. This is a great place to come because it stays cold, and we'll still be hitting it weekly.
We're gonna have to get a bobber down right here on the top of this seam little channel. I don't think it's gonna take that long. Like that.
That's not a creek chub, is it?
Oh, come on, man. I don't catch creek chubs. I catch big ones. That one's got good color though.
Is that a trout or a chub?
So here at Dix Creek, there's several stocking access points for us. Some of them are bridges, some of them are at the bases of waterfalls, and there's also some narrow runs where the creek runs right next to the road. It's a real easy toss for us to put fish into the creek, and they do real well. This area today got rainbow and brook trout, but typically rainbows are our primary species that are stocked here, but this creek will receive browns and brooks also when available. Those fish are typically come to size, which is 10 inches here in Georgia, later in the summer, so that's when you'll see those fish hit the water.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes, sir.
Alright, as you see, we caught a ton of fish today, and we caught them on two baits. Pautzke's red fireballs and the new Chartreuse Garlic eggs. Now, this is a pretty simple setup. As you see, it's not a real big stream, using small floats, and we're not fishing that deep. And the reason why I'm using a float is to keep it up off the bottom, give it that natural presentation. Plus, I don't like to lose a lot of hooks, and we released all the fish today. So with this float, it gives it that initial bite, so you always get them right in the lip. Now, we're using 4-pound test. Like I said, we got a float, a couple split shots right below the float to keep it up and down, and then I have a few small ones down towards my hook, and what that does is get that egg straight down to the bottom, right in front of those fish's face. Now this is a size 12 caddis hook. I'll show you here, Chartreuse Garlic. I was only using one Chartreuse Garlic egg on this hook. Super simple, just like that. And like I said, we just floated it down through the stream, and that's how we're getting a lot of our bites today.
We heard the Georgia DNR talk about how often they stock Dix Creek, and that weekly stocking is super important. Reason being, so many people fish this creek, it is unbelievable. You know, and it takes a lot of trout stocking to be able to withstand the pressure that you get from dozens upon dozens of anglers every single day. Now remember, we're only a couple hours from the greater Atlanta metro area, which means millions upon millions of people have the opportunity to come fish Dix Creek. You know, and with that many people coming, the Georgia DNR has to do a heck of a job stocking trout here, which they do. What also impressed us was, you know, this creek was loaded with brook trout, and there are very few places in the Georgia mountains where you have the opportunity to catch brook trout. You know, they only stock them certain times during the season, but the opportunity to catch those was a blast for us and other anglers that were there. Now remember, this is not a large creek, okay? Dix Creek is a tributary to the Chestatee River, and it's only about 7 miles long. However, there is a tremendous amount of water that's cool, that's clear, and clean enough to support trout for long periods of time. Matter of fact, a lot longer than many of the other tributaries that are stocked with trout in North Georgia. If you have the opportunity, it's a great place to come up here, do some fishing, enjoy the wilderness, and catch a lot of trout. Today's episode of Pautzke Outdoors comes to you from the North Georgia mountains. We're not far outside of Dahlonega. I would say maybe about 20 minutes at Dix Creek. It is a super highly used stream. And to be honest, the reason why we're all the way up here at this waterfall is every hole below us had anglers in it. I'm talking about several miles worth of fishing holes. Had tons of anglers in it. And this is a midweek day, so we just kept driving and driving and driving. We came up on this waterfall, and sure enough, looks like the state of Georgia stocked this pool like they do every other pool on the creek. Fortunately, they stock it every single week from March all the way through August. It's a great place to come up, spend the day with the family, come up and spend fishing with your friends. And all of our fish came today on 2 different baits. We used those Chartreuse Garlic Pautzke salmon eggs, and I'll tell you, take a whiff at these and you'll know exactly why the trout chomp on them. They smell just like garlic. And then we used the red fireballs. They are not widely used here in Georgia, reason being they're fairly new. People don't really know they exist. They look, they taste, they smell, and they fish and sink like a real salmon egg. And you know what? The fish didn't even know they were real today. They chomped them like they would our regular balls of fire salmon eggs. As you can see, we caught plenty of brook trout and rainbow trout today. We put them all back for you guys to enjoy. You've got 2 trout and 2 trees.
I know, the trees hit hard.
Yeah.